All right, guys, so this is an update on a story that I talked about, I think probably a week ago, right? If it wasn't a week ago, maybe it was a couple weeks ago, in which young Rippaverse, aka Eric July, had raised over $1 million for his new comic book startup, okay? He's creating a new comic book universe called the Rippaverse, which is supposed to compete with legacy comic book universes that have gone woke like Marvel and DC. Now, when I initially covered that story, I talked about how the left was upset, right? How all the liberals were so upset that a black man had raised $1 million in a day for a comic book startup. I mean, you had people calling the man the N-word, right? Instead of celebrating him as a black man, right, an entrepreneur that is succeeding in this country, that is achieving the American dream. No. They tried to bring him down because he has political opinions that they don't like. And this video right here is a follow-up to that, because it seems that woke corporate America is now going after Eric July and his comic book startup. Because if you guys remember from my last video, or just keeping up with this situation in general, Reddit banned him from being able to promote his comic book in the comic book subreddit, right? Because he supports hate groups, okay? Now he's raised over $3 million, and PayPal is blocking over $1 million of those funds from going to his company, as those funds are supposed to be for pre-orders of his comic book. And this is just another example of how corporate America, just like the Democrat Party, just like woke white liberals, how corporate America is full of ish when it comes to supporting black people and black businesses, right? They say they love black people, right? We love you because you're black, and we're gonna support you in any way that we can, right? Except when it comes to black people that have opinions that they don't agree with, because PayPal is one of these companies that went out here and woke virtue signal just a year ago, right? Almost exactly a year ago. June 11th, they posted this. They said, last June, we made a commitment to invest in black businesses and underserved communities to close the racial wealth gap and tackle systemic inequality. We laid a strong foundation to continue this work. Okay, so this is a company that says they're committed to advancing racial equity and supporting closing the wealth gap, right? Tackling systemic racism and inequality. However, a year later, they're blocking over $1 million in pre-order funds for a black business. For what reason? We don't know. Are they racist? Who knows, right? We live in a world in which you can accuse Sesame Street characters of being racist, okay, because they don't hug black kids. So why in the world is the mob not coming after PayPal for withholding over $1 million in funds from a black business? I mean, it seems to me that this right here has more of an impact, right, in regards to holding black people back, okay, than, you know, a Sesame Street character not hugging little black girls. As devastating as that is for them, right, I think in the grand scheme of things, this is much more important, right? But again, they're not going to cover this because the guy that seems to be facing actual real discrimination, not pretend imaginary discrimination that the left loves to make up all the time, right? Real discrimination. He's a black man with opinions that they don't really like, okay? So therefore, you know, hey, it's not that important. It's not that important. So I'm going to get into this and let Eric July explain what's going on here. But in full transparency, before I get into this, I just want to let you guys know, I don't know Eric July personally. However, like I've stated in prior videos, he has made a big impact on me, as he's one of the first people to get into this space and to do what I'm doing now. And his libertarian views have strongly influenced my libertarian views, the ones that I do have. So with that being said, to me, again, I think it's important to bring awareness to a situation like this, where you have big corporate America claims to be fighting against systemic racism and say they support black people, being hypocritical, right? And not supporting black people, going as far as to hold a black business back for whatever reasons we really don't know. But I'll let Eric July explain the situation, and then I'll chime in with my opinion.
This and what I'm about to talk about does not apply to those of you that just used other means like your credit card directly on the site. No problem. We have access. One of my close friends asked, and you saw me respond to this on Twitter. He said, hey, what we looking like in terms of like the percentage? I would say about 30% of you guys, we have a lot of international people, about 30% of the funds in general that we got for the pre-order campaign so far have been for PayPal, or they use PayPal to get it. So I'm going to set the scene simple and plain. The reason I don't have access to it is because we came out the gate swinging. They flagged the account because they look at it like, hey, there's this new company. And even though this company has already had previous, like with PayPal, because of the other stuff we were doing, they saw the influx of a lot of money. They put it on hold. They want you to, of course, verify all of this various stuff. And we, of course, doing a pre-order, they have I'm not even going to call it stipulation because it's not actually that. They say, well, you need to provide basically, hey, this is real. This is a real thing and all of that. So what they did was they had a few different things that they needed me to provide for them. I did every last one of them. I provided them everything that they would have needed, the proof, all that stuff. I believe, sent them my actual copy of the book, like a digital one. So they responded saying, through an email from their wecare@paypal.com, I believe it is. And they didn't give me anything to do. They just said, hey, we see that it may be a pre-order, and this is our policy. Go look at it. I'm like, okay, there's nothing for me to do. So I've been on the phone with them for the last about a week and some change. I kept getting escalated to a supervisor who would say, hey, we're going to get it resolved in 24 to 48 hours because the people that actually resolve the dispute, you can't get on the phone with. So they have to put in some sort of recommendation or something and all this information. And then they'll decide. But, I had not been getting contacted back. And so the last gentleman that I spoke with right before I did this video pissed me off, by the way, because he was gaslighting me, basically saying, hey, this is not generally what we do, even though they have a policy specifically around pre-orders. And we know that to lie. Many of you guys buy video games and all sorts of things that you don't get for 2 months. And those big mega corporations get access to that money, even though you use PayPal. So that's a lie. He knew it was a lie. It's just that he just didn't know how to fix the problem. And that's what he kind of ran with.
Now, here's the thing. Keep in mind, Eric July has had run-ins with PayPal in the past. I remember watching a video of his probably maybe a month or two ago in which for whatever reason they had locked his account. Okay, you guys know that there have been people that have been right-leaning that have complained about PayPal just all of a sudden locking them out of their account and not allowing them to access their money. So I'm pretty sure that PayPal is probably well aware of who he is, what he does, and his political opinions, okay, because he's had run-ins with them before, okay. Now, it seems like, at the very least, they're discriminating against Eric July and his company in the sense that, well, they're a small company who raised a lot of money for pre-orders, and they're saying, well, because it's a lot of money for pre-orders, we got to take extra precaution. When, again, like Eric is saying here, we all know you pre-order a lot of stuff from big companies and you pay with PayPal, and they never have any access getting that money, right? PayPal would never discriminate against them and tell them they can't get access to the money, right? So again, it's almost like if it's not racial discrimination, right, which I'm not saying it is, but I think it's fair to, speculate, right? Because the left always speculates when it comes to situations like this. If this was a liberal, they'd be saying that PayPal is racist, right? So I'm just going to say, I don't know if it's racist, but at the very least, there seems to be discrimination against small business, which in my opinion is just as bad, right? If not worse, okay?
So as you can see right here, I'm in my PayPal. That is a lot of money. This is, of course, how much that we have on hold. We have this available. This is on hold, meaning that I can get access to this right now. I can get it out there, no problem. This right here, I can't touch it. Of course, they went back to this right here. And even though I had already sent this, of course, you can see that they're saying for proof of fulfillment. That's not what they need. Even though I've already given them that information, that's not what it is that they need. This basically boils down to is they don't want to give me access to the money, and they don't want to do what they need to do to just say, hey, you're not swindling your customers. Your customers know this is a pre-order campaign. They know when the items are going to ship. It is on the website before they actually purchase. It's built into our policy as well. We send email updates. I'm a public figure. There's no swindling going on here.
Facts. And the whole point of pre-orders, right, is that you get the funds first. It's almost like a proof of concept, right? When you have pre-orders, you get the money first, and then you use that money to then go and buy the material, okay? It's hard to buy $1 million worth of materials, okay, without actually having the money up front, okay? You would have to go and get a loan to do that, which is hard to do, right? It's hard to get $1 million loan for a small business, okay? Especially a startup, unless you're very well connected. So again, PayPal is essentially keeping people from getting their product that they ordered because he needs to use this money to make that product, right? Which again, in my opinion, is almost like stealing, right? It's like theft. That is exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is, okay? When you run a pre-order campaign, you are collecting money up front so that you can then pay for the product because you don't have the money up front, right? All those people who ordered, okay, they're paying for the product before they get it. They know what they're getting into. This guy's a public figure, right? He's just not some random dude in Africa or South America or something that's trying to swindle people. But again, you know, PayPal plays dumb and act like they don't really know that.
So you can look at it as a means of robbery. And really, I'm doing this video because I want to see how much power we got. If you paid via PayPal, understand that you got stolen from as it stands right now. I do not have access to your money. PayPal does. They are just sitting on it, and I don't know if what they're doing and paying for it and paying for whatever they want to pay with on their side, because it basically acts as a bank. I don't have access to that money. So I would recommend that you gripe to PayPal. What you don't do is send in a dispute. We have basic dispute stuff that we're kind of, we had those issues that we are dealing with the website initially. All those, for the most part, have been either resolved or are being resolved, with those server issues and all that. But don't put in a actual dispute, because then they put that on us. If you put in a dispute, they'll say that they'll say, hey, you don't do that. Just go to PayPal, wherever you're on, your whatever devices, tell them, hey, I am not okay with the fact that you got my money that was supposed to go to someone else, and you're supposed to be my way of paying for that. However, that money I want in the hands of the person that you're buying the product from. Again.
Yeah. So you guys get the gist, okay? I'm not going to go through the whole video. You guys get the gist of what's going on here. And situations like this, again, highlight the hypocrisy of woke corporate America, where they come out here and say, well, we support black business and we're going to help black entrepreneurs and blah, blah, blah. But, when it comes to black people, black entrepreneurs that don't have the right opinions, that have businesses they don't necessarily like, all of a sudden it's, well, we need to discriminate, right? And at the very least, again, I'm not saying it's racist. I don't know if PayPal is racist. Again, I think it's fair to speculate because we speculate off everything else. Why not this? And I'm not going to go as far as to accuse them of being racist, but I will say at the very least, it seems to be a discriminatory policy against small business, which again is just one of those other things that we have in our society that makes it harder for small business to compete against the big guys, right? Again, which sucks. It sucks, right? As an entrepreneur that, these big companies basically try to crowd out people like Eric July who are trying to compete against them. I mean, you're already behind the 8 ball in terms of just amount of cash that you have, the amount of influence that you have. Now, you also have to deal with PayPal discriminating against you when it comes to pre-order funds, right? And this is exactly why we need a parallel economy. I believe that Dan Bongino actually is creating a competitor to PayPal called Parallel Economy, in which, they're going to handle transactions and payments and stuff like that, similar to what PayPal does. But, again, my point is that this is why we need that. Because, again, companies like PayPal, they're ideologically driven, right? What they're doing here is not good for their own business, but they're doing it because who knows, right? Who knows why they're doing it, right? They can't really say, okay? And this is why we got to deal with companies that are not ideologically driven like this, in the sense that they're going to discriminate against people over their political beliefs or because they're a small business or whatever, right? Everybody should be treated the same. Everybody should be treated the same. But again, I find it fascinating how the left and these race crusaders, the people that claim they support black people so much, why are they not rallying behind Eric July even more? You have a black man that's trying to start his own comic book company. He's raised over $3 million. And he's not going on TV and getting interviews with MSNBC and CNN, these places that claim they support black people so much and black businesses. But you got the mother of a child, right? Some girls that didn't get a hug from Rosita. They're on MSNBC getting interviews, right? Because they're claiming racism. But a black entrepreneur, somebody who's actually doing something, right, that's going to be good for black people, right, setting an example that black people should follow, creating comic book characters that black people, young black boys and girls are going to look up to, you know, they don't really want to cover that. They don't really want to talk about that. They don't really want to give him attention. Again, it really blows my mind. And again, this is why I say that we're not going anywhere. As long as we continue to promote the worst among us, right? And, we're not going anywhere because the best among us don't get the attention that they deserve. The ones that are working hard, working smart, taking risks, that aren't sitting around complaining about racism and the white man this, the white man that. That's just like, you know what? I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to achieve the American dream. I'm going to do what I got to do. You know, and nobody really cares about that person. They don't get the attention that they deserve. And that's what really blows my mind about the state of this country. It really does. So, with that being said, again, PayPal here is really showing their woke hypocrisy in regards to how they really don't support black people and black entrepreneurs when they have opinions that they don't like or their businesses are too small, right? Who knows what it actually really is? But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.